Welcome to the Meat Mistress podcast. I'm your host, Emma Butler, and this is my audio diary of life on the farm as a full-time farmer, wife, and mother, not always in that order. And oh yeah, I also own and operate a butcher shop. Thank you for giving me a few minutes of your time as I chat all things farming, small business, and more. Hello, my friends. How are you? I am coming at you with another episode of the Meat Mistress podcast, a small business series. And if you saw the title of this podcast, I'm going to dive in and just chat with you a little bit about wholesale. Now, I'm not a wholesale expert, so please do not think that like this information is going to be your holy grail if you're aiming to wholesale your products. But I just want to give you some insight as somebody that is a person that buys products and resells them. So somebody that utilizes a wholesale business platform, because I have a brick and mortar location. I have a farm store. And as somebody that also wholesales products, because I also have a product that I do offer for wholesale to other retailers, I feel like I can just give you just a little bit of like the ins and outs of wholesaling. And maybe it's something that you're not thinking about, and that's totally cool if you're not there yet. I feel like this podcast is still for you, even if you're not there, because it's something that I want you to think about for a few reasons, and I'm going to dive into those. So that is what we're going to be talking about in this podcast. Now, I did just want to preface this conversation with you and let you know that we are currently in the bean field. I'm doing beans. I'm in the tractor. I'm running the buggy. No, I'm not talking and driving. I'm going to have to pause a little bit here and there to actually work. But if you've ever harvested beans in a tractor, in bean season, you do kind of a little bit of waiting. So I got some time and I'm thinking, and this is where I have my best thoughts, is in the tractor cab. So I'm going to take you along. We're going to talk about wholesaling. Okay. So just to kick things off, I'm going to give you some terms and some definitions just to plant in your brain, because I know myself and I know I'm going to get jammering on and I'm going to repeat these words a bunch of times. So I want to make sure we're all on the same page and we all understand them. So the first term that I kind of want you to get familiar of is the term retailer. So a retailer, and from me, we'll talk about myself because that is what this is all about. A retailer is someone like me that has a brick and mortar, which means a physical location where people come and shop. So a retailer is somebody that buys items and sells them. I know it sounds like basic, but that is what it is. It is somebody like myself that buys products at a bulk or wholesale rate, and then turns around and does what's called markup. So you charge more money than what you paid to resell those items. Now, if you're like me, when I first started my business, I thought the concept of buying products and selling them was so cringy. I was like, oh my God, I will never buy products and resell them. Like, I need to have everything myself and I need to make all the profit and blah, 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 blah. Honestly, now that I'm getting a little bit seasoned, now that I'm 4 years into business, and now that I know what I know now, oh my gosh, if you have the capital to invest, because you also have to have some money, you got to have some money in the bank. Your business has to be generating some kind of income to justify turning around and buying products to wholesale. So you got to have some money. But if you get some money and you can buy things to resell, it can be lucrative, my friends. It can be lucrative and transcendent, and it can take your business honestly to the next level. So let me just dive in a little bit and explain what it is I'm talking about of how lucrative the wholesale business can be. And again, I'm going to talk about it in two perspectives because I'm a little bit weird and I kind of fit into two categories. I fit into the retailer category that I've already talked to you about. And I also fit into the wholesaler category because I also have products that I wholesale. So I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the lucrative business that this platform can kind of help you with. So how this wholesaling model can help your business a lot and how it can be lucrative is in two ways. So if you have a product business, like I have a product business, I sell meat that I raise on my farm. Wholesaling for me, in terms of me wholesaling my meat to other people to resell, has been very lucrative because they're guaranteed sales. It is a guaranteed sale. It's already basically gone and out the door before I even cut it. So for me, wholesaling my product to very select retailers, I wholesale to other farm stores, very niche grocery stores, stuff like that, has worked out really well for me. It is a guaranteed sale. If you have a product-based business, I strongly suggest you consider doing wholesale to some extent, whether you take custom orders from retailers or you make a bunch of duplicates, let's say, and then try and get retailers to purchase those. Maybe you get 4 or 5 retailers to purchase those duplicates, and then you have that kind of out there in the world in, say, 5 different places. But it is a guaranteed sale. And I think some people are kind of taking it back at the thought of wholesaling because, especially as a small business owner, I get it. You are like, oh, well, I'm taking less of a profit because I could sell it for my retail price and yada, yada, yada. But let me tell you, my friend, sometimes making that big bank is better than putting in all that work and waiting for it to sell. So like in terms of wholesale, say you make bracelets, say you're making bracelets for the Taylor Swift Eras Tour. I'm a total Swiftie. I love Taylor Swift so much. This is not a podcast about Taylor Swift, but we can talk about her again later. But say you are making bracelets for the Taylor Swift Eras Tour, because come on, we all want those. So you're making friendship bracelets. It is better off to go ahead and make 50 bracelets and sell all those 50 bracelets in one big batch, maybe for a little bit less profit margin, but you're still profiting. You're not giving these things away. You're just taking a little bit off the top so somebody else can sell them, versus you making all 50 of these bracelets and trying to sell 50 of these bracelets on your own. You might not sell them all. You might only sell 15 of them. Do you know what I mean? It's better to sell all 50 and get that bank than to hang on to that inventory and try and sell it on your own. Now, that is situational dependent. Like, that doesn't always work out like that, but I will tell you, once you kind of dip into the wholesaling market a little bit, you will find that it does really help. It does really help to have kind of that big chunk come in all at once. You put in all that work, you get the product out the door, it's done deal. You're done and you're paid. Dunzo. Now, I will say, if you're thinking of getting into the wholesale game, myself as a retailer, I do not do consignment of any way, shape, and form. I have had my vendors try and say, hey, we can do a consignment deal. No, ma'am, I want to pay you. I want to buy your stuff. I want to own it. Me as a retailer, I want to own it. I want to be on the hook with it. I want you to be square and make your money. And I think I understand that because I'm a small business owner. Not everybody will give you that deal. It just is the way it is. You have to pencil things out and see what you think. If you're not familiar with the term consignment, it is when you take your friendship bracelets to a store to sell them, and then rather than that retailer paying you right there for them, you give them like a month, and then you go back and then you kind of square up for the product that's sold in that month's time or 3 months time or whatever you and the retailer negotiate. Now, I don't know about you. I really, really hate that. I really hate that. I would hate that as, a small business owner with a product. I would hate that because then you have your inventory tied up on somebody else's shelf, and that place has no obligation to sell your stuff. So I know it's, you got to have a little bit of chops and you got to have a little bit of balls, to be honest, to ask retailers to buy it at a wholesale rate from you and buy it outright. But if they want it, they will, and I think that's a bigger story, is that if they want it, they will. Because if I want your friendship bracelets in my store, I'm going to pay you for them, and I'm going to be more than happy for that. So that's just kind of one way that you have to look at the wholesale. If you have that type of a business, that you have a product and you want to get it out there. It also obviously does help to build your brand and brand awareness to have, say, your friendship bracelets at 5 different locations. And now customers are seeing that, and, you know, you're advertising the places that customers can buy from you and what have you. Now, the wholesaling model as well too, you don't necessarily have to do a minimum quantity. Like maybe you wholesale batches of like 10 or 15 friendship bracelets. You don't have to hammer down and sell 100 at a time. Like you have to do what's manageable for you. And then what is also justifiable for a retailer. If you're cold calling retailers or you're just walking in with your friendship bracelets, you know, myself as a retailer, I don't want to buy 100, but I would love to buy 10 or 15 and see how they go. And if they go well, cool. Maybe I increase my order next time. So those are just some things to think about if you have a product that you are looking to wholesale to a retailer. Now, the flip side to this coin and how wholesaling can be beneficial for you as a retailer, and this is what I discovered. So, you know, my kind of previous way of thinking of I'm not going to buy things to resell, that's cringy. That has totally gone out the window now that I'm a little bit more established as a business, now that I have more capital to invest. I like to buy things to resell because we'll just stick with the Taylor Swift theme on this. And if you're not a Swiftie, I can't relate to you. No, I'm just kidding. But it makes it easy if we have a theme, right? So sticking on that theme of Taylor Swift does what she calls Easter eggs. You know, she puts out little hints in the world for people to notice, to bring them back to her music. Now, do you get what I'm saying? I like to do that when I purchase products from a business to resell to my customers, because what that is going to do for me as a retailer, buying things and reselling it, is it is going to attract customers to my store, right? Taylor Swift is a mastermind for a reason. But that Easter egg theory, I like to buy products that are complementary to the products that I have. So my beef, lamb, and chicken, you're going to see me buying spices that go with beef, lamb, and chicken. You're going to see me buying sauces that go with beef, lamb, and chicken. My mindset with this entire brick and mortar business store location has always been, I want to bring people back to the cattle. Everything has to connect to the cattle. And I try and drive that into my brain that it has to connect to the cattle. Or why am I buying it? So in my farm store, I'm not doing like a grandma's country store thing. That is really like, you're not going to find doilies and gifts really at Christmas time. Yes, but that's a whole, Christmas time's a whole different podcast episode, my friends. But I'm not like a small country store type of farm store. In my farm store, we focus a lot more on food. It is a food-based farm store. We're not really an old-timey country store place. We're definitely more, I want to say like edgy. Is that the right word? And like cool and rustic. And that is kind of just the vibe that I was going for when we designed it, when we built it. You know, we have a polished concrete floor and like cowhide accents and like a jet black wall. And it's cool. We wanted a place that was different and that was cool. And I knew that was going to be kind of a part of our element. And then I incorporated that into our branding, and it all ties together because that's what it takes to be when you are a mastermind. It all has to tie together. So what I have found success in purchasing products to bring into the farm store is all of those products that I bring in are connected. So they're complementary, yes, to the products I already have, or they're complementary to the theme that I have going on. So for example, let's use the bracelet analogy. We're already on it. So say I was going to bring in friendship bracelets. The friendship bracelets should be ranchy or like I love cows or howdy, staying on that country kind of Western, you know, cowpoke type of a vibe. Like it has to fit the vibe. The look of them has to fit the vibe. You know, even though I love bright, pink, sparkly everything, if you know me, you know that I'm a sparkly girl. I'm not maybe necessarily going to bring in friendship bracelets that are bright, pink, and sparkly. But if they're, you know, rustic and brown and tan and leather, like something you would see on a saddle and it gives you saddle vibes, that may be something I bring in because that's kind of the color palette. That's what I go for. Everything is connected. So for this and in this mindset of buying products and reselling them, I've had a lot of success because it has helped to get my brand out there in other ways. It has helped attract customers from all sorts of different places. The brands and the vendors that I have brought into my store also help advertise for me because they state, you know, in posts or on their website or whatever of like, hey, my product's available at J&E Meats, and everything goes hand in hand together. I also subsequently help to push and promote their brand. Because I buy everything, I am on the hook to sell it. So I make sure that my staff are thoroughly knowledgeable on the products. When we get a new product in, we all try it. Say we get in a barbecue sauce, we open up a bottle, we try it. I want my staff to try it so that they have feedback. So when the customers are asking about it, we can tell the customers not only our own personal experience and what we think of the products and what we like about the products, we can tell the customers a really honest bit of feedback coupled with the knowledge that comes from the vendor, because that is the other portion to this that I'll get into next. If you are going to wholesale your products, you have to make sure that your retailers know the product, because not all retailers, again, I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but not all retailers are going to pay you up front for all your stuff. And not all retailers are going to do product research. It just is a known fact. They're going to buy your stuff, they're going to put it on their shelf, and they're going to hope it sells, because that's the experience that I have had as a consumer going to other places, is that the staff aren't knowledgeable of the products, which you can't really expect them to be at every place. But at J&E Meats, you can expect the retailers, so my associates and my team, to be knowledgeable about the products, not only where the products are made, how they are made, where they come from, but my staff are going to know what the products go with. So if a customer's like, hey, what does this spice go with? My staff can be like, well, it's a little bit salty, so if you don't like spice, maybe you want this one, and it's really good on lamb, or this is really good on chicken, or like, both of them are really good on everything. You should buy one of each. My staff, I make sure, are well versed in the products that we carry. Now, they might not be experts on every single product, but I am at least an expert, because I, as the main purchaser, as a business owner, as a CEO, because I have done my research on these products and I have hand selected them to come into our store, I of course know the product inside and out. I have tried it. Or if I haven't tried it yet, I've just taken a risk because it looks like something I would like. And sometimes you have to just do that. Sometimes if you are going to fill your brick and mortar with products that you have bought wholesale, sometimes you have to just look at it and like it, and just try it. Oh, the packaging's cute, must be good. Honestly, I will tell you that does ring true for the most part. I have had a lot of products and I've taken a lot of risks on quite a few things, and most of the time they've worked out. I really like, as a retailer, when I'm purchasing products, to cultivate a relationship with that vendor. So I like to meet the small business owner, get to know them, see what they're like. I check out their social media, I look at their website, I do all my research first before I decide to purchase from them. And the second tier to this element that I will say, me being a little bit more of a picky retailer, not only do I hand select the products that come into my store, not only do I cultivate these relationships with the vendor and with the business owner, but I'm just going to say it like this. I don't know if this is the right way to do it or not. It's the way that I do it. If I don't like you, if you are a difficult business to work with, I'm probably going to drop you. I'm probably going to liquidate your products. So maybe I do a giveaway with them to get rid of them, or I put them on like a super sale or something, like just to move them and get them off my shelves, because I'm done with you. And again, I know that maybe sounds a little harmful when here I am pumping up small business and vendors and stuff like that. But I will tell you from experience that I have met business owners that have a killer product. Like, they don't even know what they have in their hands. They're literally sitting on like a gold mine. And the vendor or business owner themselves is just not it. Like, I, as a retailer, cannot be more passionate about your product than you are. Like, that don't make no sense, my friend. And I have dropped some retailers before because maybe they have too high of order minimums. Maybe you have to spend like $250 or $300 in order to get their product. That is something else that I didn't notice, is that sometimes you do have to buy a minimum of X dollars, which is why you need to have some money in the bank be prepared to spend some money on some of these products. But I have dropped retailers or other vendors rather for various reasons. One of them being as simple as, I don't like them. They're difficult to deal with. They're not passionate about their product. They don't message me back on time. All those are a factor to me. Okay, sorry, I feel like I'm blasting through these topics and then at the end I'm really tapering off, but I just wanted to remind you that I am in a tractor cab. We are doing beans. Do not tell my husband that I'm doing this because he gets all you're not paying attention. I'm like, yes, I am. I'm sitting here. So this subject segues into the other two-tiered factor of this conversation. What makes a good wholesaler? So I talked to you earlier about the definition of a retailer. Retail is someone who buys your stuff and sells it. A wholesaler is somebody like you, we're small business owners. We have a product. We want to sell it to a retailer. I mean, wholesaler kind of sounds cringy. It sounds like you're selling to Walmart. And if you are, cool, get it. But if you're not, it's okay. So if you want to wholesale your product, let me just tell you now, this is, again, a completely biased, only Emma's opinion because of the retail products that I bring into my store and what I like. And I'm definitely way more picky, or maybe I'm not picky enough. I don't know, but I'm particular, I guess. So what makes a good wholesaler or wholesale product? Let me tell you, as a retailer, we need our hands to be held. You have to do things for us. For the love of God, please do things for us. What I mean by that, just to give you a better description, is things like marketing materials, packaging, SKU codes, which are those UPC barcodes that you see on products. All those kind of things are things that, as a wholesaler, so if you're wholesaling your friendship bracelets that you're making, if you're wholesaling those, they gotta have everything. They literally have to be shelf ready and ready to retail when they show up at my business. Because retailers, they don't have any time. I'm gonna tell you that right now. We ain't got no time to brand your products, and we don't got any time to do extracurricular stuff for you. I personally want to just buy it and be like, oh, it's cute, I like it. I want to take some maybe product photos of it, bare minimum, and sell it. That's what I want to do. I don't want to have to do anything else. And I also shouldn't have to do that. I should not have to make barcodes. Now that's a different thing, but I shouldn't have to make a barcode necessarily for your product. I shouldn't have to have even right down to a retail space in terms of, say, a display unit with your name on it. I as the retailer should not have to do that. I maybe as the retailer should make a little sign to go with it. But even then, I find myself as a retailer, I'm doing a lot of extra work for certain products. I'm looking up your logo so I can put it on pamphlets and pricing and stickers and all that kind of stuff. And on a lot of things, I don't feel like I should do that. And that's not me being a snot. That is me straight up telling you, as your friend, if you're selling these friendship bracelets, just have them packaged, have them branded, have them ready to go. If you don't have the barcodes, don't sweat it. It's seriously cool. That's not the end of the world. But have it ready to go. Have it shelf ready. Show up at this retailer with your friendship bracelets and a cute little stand to hang them on. So all this retailer has to do is stick a sticker on it, load it in their point of sale system, and off they go. Give retailers no reason why they shouldn't buy your product from you. The other aspect that you're going to want to do is you want to be great to work with. I kind of hinted on that earlier where I was talking about I've dropped some people because they just haven't been great to work with. You have to be passionate about your product. You better be eat, sleep, and dreaming about friendship bracelets, honey. You better be going to take on the entire friendship bracelet market with what you're doing. Because retailers like myself, I find that attractive. I want to sell your product more when I know the person behind it gives a shit. When I know they're man, I sell friendship bracelets and mine are the best and mine are the best on the market, and Taylor Swift herself is going to get some of my friendship bracelets. You know what I mean? When you have passion and drive behind your product, retailers will or should notice that, and that should resonate with them and give them the motivation to move your product because they like you and they like working with you and they see everything that you're about and that you pour that into your product. So the other aspect that you should do, in my opinion, to retailers is not only do everything for us, make sure it is shelf ready and ready to retail, but also make sure that the back end of you and your product as a business is together. Like, I mean, you should have a formal system for invoicing. I should receive the invoice either on delivery or in advance of your products. You should be able to accept now, credit card, I mean, I know you pay a lot in fees, so don't necessarily get hung up on that, but definitely e-transfer. And for God's sakes, set up for auto deposit. As a retailer, it drives me absolutely bananas when I go to pay somebody and I'm trying to pay you for your stuff and you don't have auto deposit set up. I'm like, I know it seems very small, like a very small thing, but let me tell you, when I'm trying to send you money, it's annoying. It is annoying. So just set everything up logistically so that you can bring your friendship bracelets, drop them off at the retailer. Here's your invoice, Emma. Emma can go on and pay it and done and start selling this product immediately. The other beneficial part and part of holding a retailer's hand is provide them with a list. If you have multiple products, say you have like 5 different styles of these friendship bracelets, provide that retailer with something called an MSRP, which is a manufacturer's suggested retail price. So tell that retailer, literally hold my hand and tell me what I need to sell this for. Because as a retailer, it also is really hard. I mean, I know in my head what good margins are and around where I'm landing of what I want to charge things. I know my customer demographic, blah, blah, blah. However, if you tell me the suggested retail price, that helps me out tenfold, because you might be selling these friendship bracelets to me for $2.99 and you're making your bank and I'm like, sick, that sounds like a good deal. But if you tell me that I can turn around and sell these friendship bracelets for $10.99, I'm like, sick, what? People are paying $11 for these things? Like, I'm making it like a bandit. You know what I mean? Like, that is how retailers think. At least I do. I'm like, what? Because I might buy it from you for $2.99 and then I might look at it and my staff might look at it, and as consumers and, you know, people that wear friendship bracelets, we might be like, we'll sell them for like $5.99, not knowing that we could be getting double that. You know what I mean? If you provide your retailer with a ballpark of, hey retailer, you should sell it for around this, it helps out tenfold, because then we as retailers know where to land. We know if we're landing on $5.99. We know if we're at $10.99. Maybe you suggest $8.99 and I still charge $12.99. You know what I mean? It's up to me. It's my stuff now. I own it. But if you tell me what to sell it for, it really gives me this benchmark of how much you value your product and how well you think your product is made and what you think the market is for your product. But it also tells me that you know your shit. It tells me that you've actually put some thought into why I should sell your product, because it is all about me, the retailer, making money, which, like, it is. So if you tell me where I should land, it is so helpful. It is so helpful. It makes things so much easier. It makes it so much more mainstream, and it makes it faster. It makes me way more, like, me more motivated to sell your product, because I can get it in my hand. I can send you the e-transfer that you're going to have auto deposit set up for. I can get you paid. I can get you priced. I can get you on myself. I can get selling it, and off it goes. I like that as a retailer. I like things to be done for me, but I don't think that I'm the only retailer that is like that. Like, I feel like no other retailers are really going to say that out loud. Maybe they don't know that about themselves, but if things are done for us, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to buy your product. I'm going to get out there, done deal. Do it for me. So that is one of the biggest takeaways, I would say, if you are looking to wholesale your product. Now, when I wholesale my products, so the products that I wholesale are my beef. I don't really wholesale a lot of lamb. I don't really wholesale a lot of chicken. I keep that inventory mostly for our farm store, but I wholesale my beef. Now I'm going to dive into how I do that a little bit. Again, I don't want this podcast to go on and on, but now that I'm talking about it, I feel like this subject is really developing, and I just want to pour value into you. I want you to learn from this and take away from this. So I'm going to dive into how I wholesale my products and the things that I do. Okay, I'm also going to try and shortlist this for you so you can kind of follow this along. Now, I wholesale meat, and particularly my beef. So the way that I do that, because meat products are sold by weight, you can sell them by piece, but I sell them by weight. That just is what it is. It's easier. I'll tell you kind of the steps of how I wholesale my products. So I ascertain a relationship with a potential retailer. 9 times out of 10, I go after them. I find them literally, like, they come across to me on Instagram, or I'm looking through comments on other people's posts or related stuff. I just kind of find people. I find farm stores, niche grocery stores, stuff like that. I usually go to them. Sometimes they come to me. Sometimes it comes through referrals. My customers have been really awesome. They work in a lot of places that are similar, in terms of, like, say, like a niche grocery store. So I've had somebody be like, hey, here's this grocery store owner's number. You should call them. Referrals are always kind of number one. So I cultivate a relationship with a potential retailer. I usually set up a meeting with them to talk face to face about what it is I offer, about our farm store, about our business, about myself as a farmer and my husband and all the things that we do together. And I really kind of try to sell them mostly on our story, because, like I said, I already know my product is good. I already know I have a premium product. I don't need to sell them a ribeye steak to try. I know my product is good, and I know it's going to suit them. And if I am going after them, I've already done my research. I've already looked at their website. I've already looked at, like, their social media pages. I've already maybe spoken to some other people that shop there. Like, I have done my research. If I am asking you to sell my product, or if you would be interested, it's because I already know that you would be a good fit. I just have to sell you on me, myself, and I. So I ascertain that relationship, and then right off the bat, I negotiate terms of, this is when I'm going to fulfill a product for you. This is how it's going to come packaged. All of it comes premium packaging, cut standard retail, because that is what we do for our storefront. Everything comes labeled. In terms of pricing, they will pay X amount at a wholesale rate. So say I sell them ground beef for $5.25 per pound, and then I give them a suggested retail price for every single cut, so that they know what to sell it for. So say they buy the ground beef for $5.25 for me, I give them an MSRP of $8. So then they can kind of work their margins accordingly, and everything kind of evens out in the end. And ultimately, the customer here, they can decide what they want to sell things for. You're buying it from me, it's cha-ching, done, in my bank, I'm moving on in terms of the actual sale, and they can go ahead and sell it whatever they want to. If they want to sell ground beef for $100 a pound, you go, Glen Coco, you do whatever you want. It's yours now. You own it. And that is the gist of it. And that is the gist of wholesaling, and why I prefer a wholesale account, either as a retailer or as a wholesaler, where the product is completely sold up front and there's no consignment. Because, like, how messy would that be if I sell you 200 pounds of ground beef, and then I have to go back in a month later and either me do my own inventory, or you keep track of inventory, and then you pay me what you, so, like, yuck. It just sounds gross. It sounds messy. If you have had success in consigning, you go for it. And I understand that, like, sometimes too, consigning works on bigger items. Like, say you have a boat dealership and you're selling boats. Yeah, that's not friendship bracelets. I get that. So consignment in certain settings probably does work very well, but I would say probably in a majority of settings that I don't see how it's going to work. But if you got a plan, try it, go for it. So after I kind of negotiate the terms with the customer of, this is what it's going to do, and this is what I'm going to do for you, then I also tell them the benefits of partnering with us. So one of the major benefits that you get with partnering with us is that you get all of the brand support. I advertise for your business. I talk about your business. I go to your business. I take product photos in your business to showcase it. I have over 5,000 followers currently on Instagram. I have well over 6,000 followers on Facebook. I have over 3,000 email subscribers. I have a lot of people that follow me, and my customers are consistently choosing me over and over again. And they are following my products. Like, customers want to know where they can get my products. So if I can direct them to your business and it's closer to you, and that customer can still support J&E Meats and your business, it's a match made in heaven. So I do advertising on top of that business that is supporting me as well. So that brings with it tremendous value. Additionally to that, it helps everybody. Again, it's brand awareness for both our businesses. Both our businesses win, because then the more product you sell, the more times I have to restock you, the more money we both make, and that is what makes this world go round. So then after that, I go and cut the product for the customer, package it all, label it all, bring it to the customer, and then I like to face it myself. So facing products is when you take your product or a product and you put it on the shelf and you make it look good. You know, when you go down a grocery store aisle and everything is really, really pretty and uniform and all the labels are facing out and all that kind of stuff, that is called facing. So I like to face my products, especially the first 1 or 2 times with a new retailer. I like to face my products myself because I want to know that my products are accurately and well displayed. I don't really like to just drop off product and trust the retailer to know how to display my product or know how I want my product displayed. I want it to look good at your place because I want it to sell. I don't want you to dump this ground beef in the bottom of a freezer and like hope it moves, because that's not going to work. I want you to make it in a pyramid, and I want you to have signage, which I also provide if you need it. I provide signage. I also bring extra pamphlets. I bring extra marketing materials. I bring stickers, all that kind of stuff. I literally set my customers up for success to sell my product. Now, if the product is not selling for them, that is on them. They own it. It is your product to sell. You have bought it and paid for it. You sell it, you eat it, you do whatever you got to do, but it is on you to sell it, and I will help facilitate in any way that I can, because I also want us both to be successful. I want you to sell it, and need more, and me be able to restock you, and us be able to feed more people. That's what I want to do. So after the customer has been successfully set up with their stock, then I go ahead and I do advertising for them as well too. Like I mentioned, I'll do maybe a post, a couple Instagram stories, stuff like that, talking about them. I batch all that content as well too. So that means that I take it in like the photos on my phone and stuff. So I have that. I don't take them like within the app. I don't open up Instagram stories and then take a photo. I take it all on my phone, and then I put it in a folder on my phone. So when I need to pump up sales for that retailer or be like, hey, go check them out or whatever, I just have all of that stuff already in a folder on my phone that I can just go in and grab, and I don't have to worry about like getting new pictures or like, you know, making my posts a little bland. Like everything can kind of be embellished a little bit more, which helps build a brand, build customer awareness, drive customers to that location. And then after that, you just kind of wait for things to happen. You wait for the magic. You go ahead and, you know, you do all the advertising, you do all the marketing, you tell everybody about it. That retailer hopefully supports you and does the same thing. And then you're off to the races in terms of sales. Now, when it comes to restocking, I should discuss terms first. So my customers for my beef, when they purchase it to wholesale, they must pay a deposit in advance to secure the order, and it's a non-refundable deposit. And then on top of that, they must pay, the terms are on delivery for your first order. And then after that, it's net 7. And I absolutely need full payment in net 7, which means 7 days after I drop off your product, I need full payment, or I will come and get it. And unfortunately, I have had that only once. I haven't had it very much, where I have had to go get the product and the retailer obviously was not happy. And I was like, yo, but you didn't pay your bill. So I don't really know how you think this works, but that's how this works. And maybe it makes me a little ruthless. But again, that is inventory that I have tied up with you that you didn't pay for, which is another reason why I don't like the consignment thing, right? Like it's just like so sticky that I don't really want to deal with that. And I don't want my inventory that I own, because if you are consigning something, you still own it. The business owner doesn't own it. You own it still. So I don't want my inventory tied up anywhere else. So for me, that has only happened once. I have had to go and collect product. I was very nice about it. I was very polite. I was like, if you give me cash right now, you can keep it. But they didn't. So I had to repo it, which is weird to repo meat. But anyway, that's what happened. And hopefully you don't get into those situations, but it is something that you do have to think about if you are going to go down that kind of wholesale line, is what are my payment terms going to be? And you absolutely have to hold steadfast to those payment terms. You cannot, please, for your business and for your product, you cannot flake on those payment terms. They are what they are for a reason. I always suggest upfront, especially for your first fulfillment, to get payment upfront so that you know it's good to go and that this retailer can A, afford to pay you, and B, are going to pay you. And then you have those terms and boundaries already negotiated from the get-go. Everybody's paid. Everybody is happy. So one brief little topic, I promise you I'm wrapping this up. Holy Hannah, I know this podcast kind of just, it got away on me. But this is a really good topic that I didn't even know I had this much information on. So I'm glad to have a place to dump it. I'm so grateful that you're here on the Meet Mistress podcast, just giving your time to me to listen. This means so much to me. So thank you so much for being here. If you want to chat on it, like, you can send me a DM on Instagram. I'm at Janie Meets on Instagram. I love talking to you and figuring out like who is listening to this podcast. It is so surreal to me. And I've had some of you come up to me in person, like I'm some kind of Taylor Swift celebrity, and say that you listen to the podcast, which is so, so amazing. So just thank you so much. I am wrapping this up. The other aspect I just wanted to touch notes on as well too. In this podcast, I did talk a lot about if you have a product-based business and wholesaling your product-based business. Now, I have a lot of friends that have service-based businesses. Now, if you have a service and you're wondering, well, how can I wholesale my service? You can still wholesale your service. It's just going to look a little bit different. So you're still going to be able to provide the value to your customer at a discounted rate. And maybe that looks like something of a subscription program or a multi-buy, we'll call it. Multi-buy sounds cringy, like we're at some kind of like sale and save place, but that is the way that if you have a service business that you can ascertain more customers or really cultivate a relationship with a customer. So my friend, for example, she has a mobile bar. So it's like a horse trailer bar. It's so cute. She could, in effect, wholesale her bar rental to a wedding venue. Let's say she wants this wedding venue to sign up for 5 weddings to rent her bar. So she could go to them with the opportunity, go to them with like a really knockout price, all the things, all the marketing, everything we just talked about that applies to a product, you could totally do for your service-based business. So say she wants this wedding venue to sign up for 5 bar rentals. She goes at them with a really great price and the marketing and everything else, gets a contract signed, bada bing, bada boom. There you go. You've got 5 weddings and this venue is going to take you on for 5, and maybe they take you on for 5 and they really like you and they take 3 more. And then next thing you know, all next season, you've got your mobile bar there. So you just never know with wholesaling where it's going to lead either, which is something that when I started wholesaling, I never thought that I was going to build the relationships that I did or get the customers that I have. So I definitely have had wholesale relationships fall through, not in way of like, I went there and took the product back, but in way of my business and my product no longer fit the retailer that I was supplying. And that's okay. If I'm not a good fit, honestly, it is your business. And I would much rather you follow and navigate where your business is going. If you have to drop me, that's cool. That's fine. I totally get that. Again, it's the way you go about it. Please don't just drop me, but you know what I mean? So I have had this opportunity to make so many relationships and so many connections by wholesaling my product and getting new customers. And yes, I've lost relationships along the way. Just I wasn't a good fit, but I still have relationships with those retailers. They refer customers to me. They talk about me. They help support my business even after the relationship has ended, which I so, so appreciate. And then even through myself being a retailer and purchasing wholesale, I have got to meet some incredible people. I have got to meet some of the coolest, smartest, tenacious, go-getting, hungry entrepreneurs and fellow business owners. And it has been one of the most incredible experiences that I didn't know as a business owner that this was coming down the pipe for me. I had no idea. And it has been so surreal. It's been amazing to be able to meet like-minded people, because being an entrepreneur can be very lonely. You know, it's not something that your family can talk to you about or relate with you on, or your friends, especially if your friends don't have businesses. It's hard. Being an entrepreneur and a business owner can be very lonely. So it's been so cool to kind of create this little micro community of business owners and, people that are just really in it and they're after it and they're going for their dreams and they're making it happen. It's been really cool to make these connections and make these friendships and be able just to support them and watch them flourish. Like some of the retailers that I have in my farm store, have been with me for like years. They've watched my business grow from this little tiny farm store outside of my house to this bigger, brand new space where we've built our butcher shop and we filled it full of things, and we're really building this community and really doing something. And they've been with me the entire time, and they've been a real part of this journey. So I'm so grateful for them. And I'm so grateful that just this experience and this life has kind of gone the way it has for me, because it really truthfully fills my cup in so many ways. I'm going to wrap up this podcast now. I got to get back to my beans. I hope wherever you are, whatever you're doing, that you're really having a great time, and that you're going through things and you're learning. I hope you took stuff away from this podcast. I hope every time you tune in to the Meat Mistress podcast that you can take something away, because it sounds narcissistic, but I do listen to my own podcast back, especially when I need, you know, a voice. It sounds bizarre because it's my own voice, but when I really need something to lean on, I am coming here, and it's been such a joy to be able to talk to you, and such a privilege. And I really truthfully do appreciate you being here and giving me your time. I hope it brought you some value today. I hope that if you're in your business, that you're navigating it well. We're going into a busy season. We're all getting ready for Thanksgiving and Christmas here in Canada. So I hope you know that the end of this year, the end of 2023 is going to end strongly, and we're going to get through it, and it's going to be a great one. We are in the home stretch. I will let you go, and I will talk to you very soon. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Meat Mistress podcast. I'm your host, Emma Butler. I've really enjoyed chatting with you. Thanks for listening. I can't wait to see you back here again. If you'd like to keep up with all things happening J&E Meats, which is our farm store and butcher shop, you can find us over on Instagram at J&E Meats, and on Facebook as well too. I will talk to you again very soon.